Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Real Estate Served on the Rocks. As always, my name is Charlie Sardelli, and I'm here with
Jimmy Buffett. Just kidding. Jameson Ambrose, guys. What's going on?
Oscar Barra. And I'm digging this Savannah Bananas shit.
Hey,
that's right.
You got to rep Savannah
Summertime,
Bananas,
baby.
most entertaining team in minor league baseball. Promise you. Go check it out
It
on
is.
TikTok. They are
they're
hilarious.
booked out for...
You can't get it. You can't buy
you
it.
can't go. You
Wow.
can't go.
Yeah.
They're sold out.
Huh.
Yep.
That's interesting.
And who are you?
I'm Charlie Sardelli.
What up, buddy?
As always, right?
All right.
And guys, we are three Colorado-based realtors out here just trying to bring you guys the best information and knowledge around the real estate market to arm you to make the best decisions that you can. Remember, we drop our episodes every week between Monday and Wednesday on YouTube at Living in Colorado at the Mile High Perspective, and our audio drops every Friday or Saturday. So subscribe to the channel, make sure you get all those notifications, and follow on Apple Music or Spotify to get the notifications of when we go live. Jameson's going live on the computer right now.
Yeah. The podcast just started talking to me. For some reason.
Well, guys, today we want to talk about a topic that honestly is going to affect thousands of Americans. And obviously, a lot of people weren't happy about it. But today we're going to talk about the Supreme Court ruling against the student loan
Forgiveness, yep.
Yeah, forgiveness that the Biden administration put in. And again, we're going to do our best to stay in the middle on this topic. We're not going to try and tailor right or left, or I know you want us to, but we're going to try and stay
You're not
on
going to
even.
bait us.
Yeah, no, not going to happen.
Maybe in person.
Yeah, yeah.
In
After
person,
a couple,
I'm easily baited.
after a
but-
couple glasses.
Yeah, but, you know, out here, we'll keep it.
Keep it civil?
We'll keep
When
it
I'm
kosher.
sober, unbaitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once I start drinking, fuck. Open
Debatable.
book. Come on.
So who
Let's
knows?
go.
Maybe the end of the podcast will be a little heated.
Yeah.
But we wanted to cover the topic because we've kind of been on a kick with topics recently on financing.
Yeah.
And not even, financing to the point of this is how much money you have to have, but creative ways that you can save money and how different ways of pricing a home can affect your sales. So we've been really money minded. And when this information came down, all three of us were like, oh God, this is going to make the buying power for millennials and high Gen Z even worse than it is. So that's
first
just
thing that came to
something.
your mind. Mine is, fuck. My
Right.
wife is, yeah.
Well, same thing for me. I haven't had to repay my student loans for 3 years now, right? And that's another thing that's just going to tack on.
At least they're yours. I'm a college dropout. I didn't finish my college degree.
You're right. You're
I was
right.
close. I just didn't do it. But my wife did. She has a bachelor's and a master's. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we talk about all the time, right? So when we talk about buying groups, one of the reasons that we've been struggling with affordability is low inventory.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons we have low inventory is because one of the largest population generations is in, home formation age, which are the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And of those millennials, over 10 million carry student loan debt at an average of almost $40,000 per person.
And
Stat
quite
guy.
frankly, they're the generation that's on the fence on
Yeah.
buying houses
Yeah.
as it is. So
Absolutely.
they're, you put another hurdle, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
You can't keep telling them just to not buy avocado toast.
Yeah. That's, I
We're
love
gonna
that.
go,
That's
we're
the
back
meme.
on that topic.
Hey.
I've been gone for how long?
Yeah.
We're back on
I want-
avocado toast.
I wanted to just welcome you back.
Thanks.
It is a summertime.
Thanks.
It is a summertime.
feel-
But I think
Feel
the important thing is that when you talk about heavy topics like politics and finances and student loans and higher education, you kind of have to include bourbon.
you have
right?
to. You have to.
It just makes it easier.
And on this episode, we're going with another tried and true. We got the Knob Creek back, but this one's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I know I say that about a bunch of bourbons, but it's
Minus the brown bag episode. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
You're welcome.
That one was fun, right? That one was a fun episode. This is the first time Oscar put any kind of additive into the bourbon on the show. Ended up with the
I
with
got
the
up and grabbed
back.
Coke.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
But this Knob Creek, the reason that this one's cool, and I honestly didn't realize that companies did this, but we've heard Jameson talk about it before. We get most of our bourbon from Bubbles over here in Castle Rock. And what's really cool about this bottle is this was chosen specifically
Correct. Store select.
for Bubbles, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Basically, they
yeah,
go
for it.
out and it's a single barrel, right? And we've talked about single barrels before. Once it's a single barrel, there's a batch and there's a barrel number, and you're never going to get that single barrel again, right? But they make multiple single barrels at a time. And whenever you have a store select or a store pick, they go out and they actually taste the different barrels, right? So the owners, the master tasters will go out to Knob Creek, or Knob Creek will bring them samples of different barrels. They'll taste all of them, and then they'll pick the one that they want to carry in their store. So it's kind of a unique way to choose the merchandise in the store. It's a unique way for us to taste it because it was picked selectively by taste masters. and you will never have this same batch or same store barrel select ever again.
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, single barrels are really cool when it comes to bourbon.
We had
because,
to kick them on them for a little bit.
Yeah,
I think we had like
yeah.
4 in a row.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, and honestly, I think I like that we did that, especially because, to people who don't drink bourbon regularly, when to them small batches is the top, right? Like, it's, this is going to be the best that I can get from that. So I think it was cool that we did do a series of small batches. And I mean, sorry, Mr. McConaughey, but your Wild Turkey Long Branch didn't hold up quite
was
at all.
not-
Oh,
a
you had
single
Wild
barrel.
Turkey?
We did the Long Branch.
The Long
one.
Branch.
Yeah.
Remember
The rare bird or whatever. That one's good.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I remember we got to bring that one in to see if we can redeem Wild Turkey.
I
I don't know. It was just for a small batch. It was not what it should have been. But we're not going to dwell on the past. We're going to enjoy what we have here today. And guys, honestly, we normally do the backgrounds on the bourbons, but Knob Creek is one of the most tried and true. If you go into any bar, almost anywhere, you're going to see a Knob Creek on the shelf, whether it's the entry level Knob Creek or a small batch. It's known to be a bourbon that you can get in pretty much any bar. So
It's typically high top shelf.
yeah, absolutely.
In most bars.
Well, and it's a lot of times the top shelf because it's higher proof, right? So the one thing that makes Knob Creek unique is they barrel their whiskeys and bourbons, prohibition style. So prohibition style just means that when they barrel it 100 proof. They don't try and weed out and make it a little bit lighter in color or lighter in the alcohol content. So all of their bourbons are 100 proof.
Yeah.
This one being a small batch is 120.
Okay.
They hide it from the cops and they run from the cops and then they put it on the
Yes,
shelf.
yeah.
Prohibition
There's a-
style.
Pretty much
There's an
prohibition style.
underground tunnel
It's
system
underground.
that they go through. If you guys ever watch Shawshank Redemption, very similar.
Well, I mean, and you could tell obviously just by looking at the bottle itself, this is a very deep amber. Not used to seeing even the Smoke Wagon.
Yeah,
was
Smoke
not
Wagon's
this
not this
deep
dark. Nope.
deep of a color. And for me, whenever I see that, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see a darker, deeper color in a bourbon or a whiskey, it gives me more hope for the complexity. Just because I feel like it's been aged longer, there's more flavor in it. That's why it's darker, and that's usually what leads to the color being darker. But I like how you said they don't do anything to
They
it.
don't distill it. I mean, they distill it obviously, but they don't distill it to the point where the proof starts to go away.
And two things I like about Knob Creek, they're a good price for what they are across the board. Two, we could drink it neat. It's really good for drinking, but it lends well for other beverages. We do during the winter this kind of eggnog milkshake type deal. It's really good, and I use Knob Creek for that.
Nice. Okay.
It's really
I
good.
in my time bartending, a lot of my knob was poured straight up or on the rocks. I never really, I don't even think I ever did a special with Knob Creek. Just because honestly, like to me, there's other bourbons that I'd rather use.
Right.
For a special.
If you're gonna,
Well,
yeah.
because of I like it's a malty caramel flavor profile it has. I mean, we haven't tasted it yet, but it lends itself well for like those festive
Yes.
drinks.
Absolutely.
Like an
Especially,
eggnog.
well, I was gonna say even like an old fashioned,
Absolutely.
more of like a Christmassy old fashioned. I could definitely see Knob
Little
Creek giving a
cinnamon,
good.
it goes well with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we let it breathe for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and switch it around. Oscar, you said that you're gonna do something a little out of character with this
I'm
first
just gonna
sip.
drink
Huh?
it all. It's been a long morning.
Let's go ahead and
Does anybody know what umber
Cheers.
is,
oh, cheers. Yeah.
by chance? Is one of the flavor profiles that we're
Umber.
Umber, not amber.
Umber.
What's umber?
Umber.
Don't know.
I think I know her.
I guess I'll. You know what? I got a computer.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Let's
We need to define what
pull
umber
the
means.
let's pull the Joe Rogan. Hey Andy, back there with the computer. Can you can you
This,
look that
this
up
guy
for us?
was walking thesaurus over here. He knows every word and he doesn't know umber. So
I do not know.
I'm interested.
that's a new one.
Hey, all I know is
You guys taste. I'm doing my
well,
research.
all I know is this.
It singes the
It's
nostrils.
not a. It doesn't feel like this one's gonna be a creamy mouthfeel, Oscar.
No, I don't either.
Yep.
I have I haven't been here for 2 episodes, 3 weeks in a row now. Been busy with work, and I have been doing 4th of July and all that, but it's been beer drinking really.
Yeah.
So this is
No, I'll
my-
give it to
one
you.
of my-
This is hot.
My first pours, and I could it burns the nostrils.
Well, you know what's interesting though is we've
I got
had.
nothing.
You got nothing.
Nothing.
Can't
It's a
find-
made-up
they made
word?
it up? They made
Got
it up?
nothing.
Knob
All
made
right.
a. Maybe it was a typo.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah,
say
maybe
amber,
they meant
but
amber.
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
I'll go with
Turn
umber.
the
We're gonna have
upside
We'll
down
tag him and ask him.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
though,
Anybody who's watched this works with Knob Creek, can you let me know what
Call
umber?
up Betty, that
is
lady we left a
Yeah.
message to. She should know.
I will say that although it is really heavy on the burn,
Yeah.
I can still smell some flavor through it.
Yeah. It's
Definitely-
just very front loaded.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
front loaded. I would love to see the guy that stuck his nose in it.
Oh, he would.
Oh, that guy.
I don't know if I can hear him.
Whew.
He got congestion though. Clear that up
Don't
real
do that.
fast.
Don't do that.
Real fast.
Yeah. That was.
All right, first sip.
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
I don't know if you're gonna shoot that one.
I'm not. And it's a warm day.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, it's good. It has some sweet, some caramel, but it burns.
This is real heavy on the backer. Mm-hmm. The backer flavor.
I felt in the esophagus.
Maybe that's what umber is.
Right, yeah, maybe. I mean,
Prohibition tobacco.
He was going to say
Definitely-
amber, but he
Yeah.
took a drink. He was like, it's umber.
I can taste the umber. I
That's a good
can-
description,
I can
Oscar.
still get a couple of flavor profiles, even though it is very hot.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I get caramel on the back end.
Yep.
It's sweet.
That burn definitely goes all the way through, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
It
normally
lingers,
by the
too.
time
Yeah.
I take my second sip, the burn's
Yeah.
gone.
No,
this
it's,
one,
this will
but
put hair on your chest.
I will say, you said this is
Hair in
120,
your tongue.
120.
120.
It's
It makes
120?
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
had breakfast.
That's what I was gonna laugh with if you actually took
Be
it.
feeling real good by the end of this episode.
It makes sense, but again, the flavor very earthy. And
Yes.
and when I say tobacco, like
Some would say umber, like
we're gonna do another counter. How many times we could say umber? But I mean, as far as notes go, once that burn does tailor down, I don't know about you guys, but I do get some of the fruit.
yeah. I get
So-
a little bit on the back end.
Yeah,
Once it
on the
tapers
back
off.
end,
And
more
then-
on the back of your tongue.
The lingering is, I don't want to say like reminiscent to the willet, kind
Yes.
of that earthy, grassy,
Yeah. Yeah.
the lingering flavor.
Yeah,
Towards
definitely
the end.
dirty.
Yeah, not bitter. Dirty's probably
Chewy?
good.
Yeah.
like
Little chewy.
like
Yeah,
dirt.
little- yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it though.
yeah. It's.
I feel like this is one of those with a nice ice ball
Oh yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
opens up. Mm-hmm. It would be
Well, water
do they
droppers.
still- I was gonna say, do they still have those water
Yeah,
droppers in
I'm
here?
staring at one right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we might have to hop off camera and go grab one.
Jennifer and I were meeting here, and she was asking, "What the heck are those droppers for?" I was like, "It's to open the bourbon
the
up."
drippy drops.
Let's see.
We have an audience member
Yes, for the
today.
first time.
Jennifer Napoleon. She's a lender here in Colorado.
It's also
VA.
I feel like this
One of
makes
the best
me
VA
feel like
lenders.
I'm like drugging your.
Yeah. Well-
That does like a drugging
Charlie,
tincture.
look away. Okay, this is not Rehypnal.
What?
About.
What's going on here?
It's scary that you know what
Let's
it
see.
is. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. I just
Rohypnol,
know the
whatever.
correct
Fuck
doses. Okay.
that. Make sure I don't walk away from my
One.
drink with you.
2, 3. Yeah, I'm going 3 as well.
Yep.
I'm going straight.
I'd be.
And you will now not remember the rest of this episode.
Nah.
I'm,
be the
I'm
first
interested. Very. This is the first time we're doing this.
All right, fine. When in Rome.
One in the club.
Oh, when in the club.
All right. 3 in.
3.
Yep. I mean, wow.
I do 3, but yeah.
I feel like. Holy shit. That cut the heat immediately.
Still on the back end though.
Wow. All right.
I'm still digesting the first one.
Now we're doing the first sip with 3 drops of water in it.
I got heartburn.
Opens it up.
Wow.
Yeah. Opens it
Yeah.
up.
The flavor, the spice, immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's adding more to the burn too. Is it's more spice
Yeah.
forward.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. All right. Keep that.
I was
Pro
going to talk
tip,
shit,
Keep
but it was
that.
good.
I was gonna say
Pro
keep
tip.
that. Keep that noted for
Yeah, pro
for
tip.
the.
It tones it down the initial bite
yeah.
Yeah. for
a
sure.
lot.
Yeah. 100%. Just
I like it.
3
I
I still get the
drops.
burn in the
Okay.
esophagus.
I like it.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes towards the end. Well, on that note, I think that this is a good bourbon to talk about the topic because
Because this topic burns.
yes, it burns. It burns hot, and I mean I've seen some pretty heated debates
So
from friends.
Yeah.
you're going to be hit personally. We both are, but I'm not doing the research. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
What does it look like for you?
$480 a month.
Shit.
And that's about average.
Yep.
Right. So if you look at it,
Damn it.
and it also depends, not to bring
have
up
to sell my
wounds,
car.
but it depends on the education level. Obviously, if you throw a master's in there,
Fuck.
then
Yeah.
it can go up to
I'm definitely going to
6,
sell my car.
800 a
It's
month.
well,
but
and that's the crazy part is, and even from the moment that I started paying, and one thing that I'll never forget is that when I graduated, one of my friends' dads, he's a doctor, and he straight up said to me, he's like, Charlie, I told him right when I got out, you will get $100 for me until the day that I die, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all he's paying is $100 a month because he knows that he could not have survived paying more than that. And it's definitely a scary thing to face down because, you know, on past episodes, we've talked about how my girlfriend and I are still renting specifically because if you look at a mortgage payment right now, we're still saving $500 a month. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh yeah, let's go ahead. Now look.
Right.
Now, welcome back. That $500 we were saving is now gone.
Yeah. And it's interesting. We talk about affordability all the time. And I think this month will be interesting with where interest rates are at, how it shakes out. Mm-hmm. But last month was the first month that we've seen since I want to say last year where your average purchase price was at or above list price.
Yes.
Right. We've seen it 96, 97, 98%. Okay. Well, now we're creeping up to that 100, 100.8. And you're seeing home prices. We took a little bit of a dip and now they're essentially flat. Inflation's gone down a little bit. I think CPI came out today, 3% year over year. Energy and food were the big ones that that contribute to
That's
that.
Funny. I was just so happy that I was watching that this morning.
Housing's still elevated, right? Services is way elevated, obviously. So what the reason I think you and I were talking about this, why we want to talk about it is one, to prepare you guys, right? Because not everybody watches the news, and I don't blame any of you guys. Yeah. It's depressing. But if you are thinking of buying a home or renting and looking to save up, or you're one of those people that I don't know the statistic, so don't kill me if I'm wrong, but it's over 90% of student loans that were deferred made zero payments over the last 2 years. Yes. So that money went somewhere else, right?
And depending on what market you're in, I was also, obviously I'm a short sale specialist and REO specialist, and I try to keep up with that. California and a few other states, most of their FHA files, they were below they didn't have any equity. They were negative in the equity.
Yep.
Honestly, that
was purchased the last 2 years.
Well, I was going to say, honestly, that doesn't surprise me with how the market's been going in California, and really, we might see something like that here in Colorado.
Yeah, I'm prepping myself. Hopefully, it doesn't hit Colorado as much as the other states. But that was an interesting statistic. Now, my question would be, again, I didn't do the research for, you know, what's the come, but is it case by case on, you know, your work? If you're working, not working, if you have a spouse, how does that work?
So that's actually that's a good point that you bring up. So immediately after the Supreme Court knocked down the no payments or the wipe, Joe Biden came out pretty much immediately and said, okay, well, if you're not going to do this, then we're going to implement certain plans and situational, like you're saying, situational payback methods for people who earn below this or stuff like that. So, you know, I would say the silver lining in this is that this has definitely put more of a magnifying glass on the payment and how it's affecting the middle class of America, the backbone of the country. And I think that's good. Ultimately, yes, would all of us have loved to get $20,000 wiped off the loans? Yeah. But ultimately, I almost think that long term, if we embrace this in the right way, we can see a reform in payment that could help based on some of these programs that are being presented and the ideas that are coming from them.
Well, and kind of like with Gallagher as well, you know, they're not going to hit us full force with it.
Yeah.
There has to be a plan, just because it'll tank everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have the backup plan is S.A.V.E. And Biden Harris introduced that immediately afterwards. Again, the wheels of Washington, D.C. turn very slowly. Yeah. And it was less of a one-time payment and more of a all-encompassing tax credits to employers and income-based repayment plans. At the end of the day, though, I think the concern that I see is, especially with, you know, first-time home buyers, right? That's a big one. There's a lot of people used to having that extra $400 or $500 a month, right? So even if you don't talk about affordability, the reason we want to bring it up is because even just from a financial planning standpoint, like, you guys have to understand that this is on the horizon. So it starts back up September 1st. The first payments are due October 1st. There's going to be a moratorium on credit reporting for at least the first 12 months. So if you can't make the payments right away, it's not going to directly hit the credit scores immediately. But at the same time, it's going to be there. Right. And then the second piece of that is, you know, you do have the people that were not paying over the last 2 years, which they could have knocked down their interest, and now it's going to hit them as inflation is still running hot, right? It's gonna hit them in the pocket, $300, $400, $500 a month. That's a car payment.
Caveat to this is do your research for your situation.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It might not be as impactful, or it might just be right there for you. In my case, kind of glad everything's under my name.
Yep.
You know, so if it hits my wife, it's not going to affect me directly, but I'll probably still have to pay. Or maybe I get a divorce and she still lives with me, and then I'll just pay her alimony and still money in the bank for me.
Boom! Look at that.
Shoot,
Adapt or
I
die.
find
Smart money
loopholes.
moves. Smart money moves over here, Oscar. I like it.
You know what?
I like it.
I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah. So here, you want some more numbers? This is just
I like the numbers.
Just some things to think about and why it's a bigger deal than I think most people. Like, people are making it a big deal because of, I got to pay an extra $500 a month. I don't think enough people are making enough noise around the housing portion of it.
Yes.
And like we talked about, right? Millennials, largest generational group to be purchasing. 37% of them have some sort of student loan debt. 37%. So what I say, 10 million. So of the 37 million, like there's a lot of people, that have it. And of those, they've done surveys. NAR's done a bunch of surveys to study how student debt affects, right? Because it's a big thing. It's over $1 trillion, or almost $1 trillion. 61% said that student loans are preventing them from either purchasing now, or it's delaying them from making a purchase, whether that's because they don't want the extra expense or they just don't qualify, right?
Yeah.
And what we've seen over the last 2 years is anybody that's deferring a payment, I really hope that's not my car.
That's definitely on my car.
Nope. Anybody that's deferred a payment, right? If you go to a loan, depending on the type of loan, they're going to take an account for a certain percentage of your monthly, right?
Yeah.
So I've gone through it, and Oscar, I know you've gone through it, where I've had people that have had deferred student loans that we've actually had to have them start paying it, because paying it was actually less than what an FHA or conventional was going to charge them for their for their debt to income by paying it, right? So now you got these people that haven't been paying it. It's gonna be a shock, and I don't affordability wise, I don't know.
I mean, and that ultimately for me is I think that's why you're seeing such a pushback from the public, and staying in the middle. I think that this is a bipartisan issue, because this isn't something that it's one group of people left or right that are dealing with it. This is something that is being dealt with across the board.
Yep.
And it becomes a situation, like you were saying, is, well, where do I prioritize my money at this point? Because if I have to make these payments back, but I still have to pay rent, and then the idea and the conversation of owning is cheaper than renting gets a little bit harder to have.
Yeah, I mean, it is long term,
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
It definitely gets blurred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Yep.
At the end of the day?
Well, you said what? Your rent's $2,000,
2,000 right now.
right? So,
And that's low in Denver.
And again,
Right now.
do your due diligence, because when rates are up, rents are up.
Yep.
So it is going to affect our industry. We just have to figure that out now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another obstacle we need to figure out.
Yep.
And we will.
and ultimately, I think what really bothers me around it, and this is where I'll just
grinds your gears.
grinds my gears about it, is if we know the American public is struggling, and there is something that could bring relief, instead of just striking it down, and here again, the fact that it got struck down, yes, is that annoying? Yes, but the people who were angry about it and who were wanting it struck down did not propose a single solution. So it's
Same with Gallagher.
yeah, you know what I mean, and then that becomes a deal of, it's like, okay, so you acknowledge the fact that the country's suffering financially, and people can't they don't have purchasing power right now, but you're neglecting the fact that you just added an entire payment that is going to continue to hurt the economy. And again, I understand completely where people are coming from when they say, well, I paid my stuff back, you should not have to. Okay, again, staying away from all of that, propose a solution. If you're going to strike it down, just say, hey, this is a possibility, because this is where we're going to sit now. This is a time in American history that is truly, truly unprecedented, where you have...
Yeah, I think it's an inflection point,
yeah.
for sure.
Well, we're getting bitched slapped by inflation, and we're going to be like, and a matter of fact, we're going to do this.
Yep.
That kind of sucks. It hurts. It stings.
It does. It's it's tough, man. I mean, at the end of the day, right? It stems from one thing. You can't just print $2 trillion.
Yeah.
Why
You
not?
can't make up money. You just can't do it.
We have a mint here.
Come out of nowhere.
You
I
can't
mean,
do it.
we have a mint.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, we
should-
can.
It's
but
just it's what is it?
it doesn't make
it's
sense.
Fugazi. It's It's fairy dust.
You could just print
Shout out
more.
Matthew
Come on.
McConaughey.
Shout
for that
out
one,
Matthew
actually.
McConaughey. That was
The
good.
one thing he did right in Rain of Fire.
Skilled.
But no,
I still haven't seen the movie. I've seen.
No,
the
he did.
trailers.
He watched
I
it.
did.
I did.
Oh, you need to go watch it.
I knew about it.
Yeah,
and I
you
watched
need-
trailers.
You need to go
but
watch it.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, the problem is it's such a complex problem, and the solution is going to have to come from a federal standpoint and a state standpoint, and then from an affordability for housing standpoint, local as well.
Yes.
And trying to get all three of those entities to work together, somebody's going to always have to give up something, right? And I know we come on the show and we talk about different things, whether it's affordability or whether it's how to look for a house or, how to choose an agent, all those kind of things. I want to make sure that we have at least a semi-solution that people can look for.
Yeah.
And I think we can link this in the,
affordable housing.
no, just for student repayment. In the video, right? So even though that got shot down, they still have the S.A.V.E. program, which will get fully phased in next year, and that is supposed to pass because it is not a one-time forgiveness where the executive branch is kind of overstepping what they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
And people can actually apply for it as long as it's meets two kind of basic criteria. The first one is it has to be a federally backed student loan. Okay, so that's the first thing. If it's private, unfortunately, not a ton of solutions currently, but it's got to be federally backed, and you have to have been paying for it or paying on it for a minimum of 10 years. So you have to show that repayment for 10 years. If you have those two qualifications, you can apply for the S.A.V.E. program, and when it rolls through next year, you can potentially see some of those federally backed student loan repayments cut in half, essentially.
Can I
So
get-
we'll
can I
link
get-
it so that you guys, and if you're one of the ones that I don't know, what do you want to say?
Prepaid.
Pre-filled out the repayment or the reimbursement
Hello.
deal. Yeah. You can automatically roll over to the S.A.V.E. program as well. So you guys can get it and just have it taken care of.
Yep.
And I would encourage everybody to do so because it's something that if it does go all the way through, which it looks like it will, it's not the same. You're not going to get, forgiven $10,000 to $20,000, but you're going to be able to have a better income-based repayment plan put in place. And in some cases, it could wipe out your monthly payment. Just depends. So
Yeah.
Can
I
I
want
get
to
a
make
little-
sure that I know we're doom and gloom, but there is a solution currently.
Yes.
Can I add to a weirdness of the doom and gloom?
Yeah.
Can I get a little conspiracy theory?
Go for it.
Conspiracy
Let's have some
theory.
fun.
Hey, if Knob Creek can make words up, so can I. You think they're just creating a little bit more of economic hardships so it's election year next year?
It
They'll
is.
come and be like, look, our country's great. Let's drop
yeah.
interest rates. The repayment program, let's revamp it. We're going to get great again. Not a political statement. I'm just saying, who knows? It's at least for the next few months. What are we, halfway through the year?
Yeah, it's July,
You got,
August,
5
October,
months.
we
We're
have-
probably going to see a lot of change at the beginning of next year.
Yes.
No,
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
I agree with you completely.
Well,
I think
and-
that's the point of talking about this kind of stuff so that you can have it in the forefront as you are, going out and looking for homes or even not looking for homes. We talk about it all the time. If you're just working with one of us or a financial planner or a lender and putting a plan in place to say, hey, you know what, I'm not ready now, but in 6 months I want to purchase.
Come
well,
January, you're full set.
6 months there's a lot's going to change. I mean, hell, we saw rates go almost to an 8% in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A day.
Well,
So
and that's
6 months.
And again,
Lot.
that
Fucking lenders.
what it really comes down to is what we preach all the time is preparation, right?
Yes.
And
Not doomsday
Knowledge.
preparation.
Knowledge.
Just preparation.
Yeah,
knowledge
knowledge.
of what your situation is.
Exactly. And with that being said, don't take this as, there's another payment, therefore I'm further away from buying a home. Take this as an opportunity to learn more about your finances and reach out to somebody who has the knowledge and has done the training to help you deal with these kinds of things.
Take
Lenders,
this as an opportunity to know that we're on the forefront of knowing these things so
Yeah.
we could prep you.
yeah.
Not as a downer, as we're prepped. Come to us and talk to us.
we have connections with people who have been doing this for years and see all different kinds of financial backgrounds and stuff. And there's still people getting into homes. Like, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people, I saw a TikTok the other day where it was like, or I think it was yours, where it was basically talking about how, like, who the hell's buying these houses?
Oh, the
Like,
dude that got in an argument with me?
Yeah, that started, he was like,
Thanks.
Why are they
user
always arguing with you?
861432890
right?
with
But-
no
'cause
profile picture.
Right?
They argue with you because or I was watching the news this morning, and I kind of saw a similarity between you and Zelensky. I'm just saying, you kind of look like that guy, so that might be why. I was laughing by myself this morning at 5 in the morning.
A slow zoom on Jameson's face
Yeah,
for you guys.
weird. I don't know how to take that.
No, but they're always arguing with you. That's
I
what
know.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Thank you
basically,
for not arguing with me.
I argue back.
I'm
well, and that's
sensitive.
his whole idea was, well, if home prices are so elevated and that's unaffordable, then how are homes still selling? Guys, just because you don't have money doesn't mean somebody else doesn't have money.
Well, it's not even that. It's situational.
Yeah.
You know, there's people with tons of equity that need to move.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, the hardships of a divorce or they had another baby, it's joyful. We need a bigger house. So they're taking the equity from one house, dumping it into another, and they're moving it around. It's as asset management movement, if you will.
Yep.
So there's still business being done. It's just situational.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's
there's business
ultimately
being
what I
done, but
mean.
there's no houses.
But that's ultimately what I mean is like, yes, it's still being done. Like there's still options to buy. There's still ways to buy.
Sure.
So it's not just like we've seen in the past. And this is what the problem is. In the past, home prices were high. America cooled down, said, we can't afford this. Home prices cooled.
Right.
Now we're seeing a very unique situation where you're sitting on a ton of equity. The United States pumped money in for the last 2 years. And they've built that up. Companies saved. They knew that this was coming, and people have money to spend.
You guys want another stat?
Always, I want stats from you,
But
Jameson.
Equity.
Yeah.
So 2012, 2013, when you measure home values as far as an asset, like Oscar was talking about, right? You talk about the debt as far as what the mortgage is total, and then what the equity is nationwide. 2012, 2013, there was about $9 trillion in debt, so outstanding mortgages. $9 trillion in equity that people can tap into, right? Fast forward 10 years, we now are sitting at 13 trillion in debt, not a big increase, 37 trillion in equity, right? So when you talk about the people that are making those moves, that's out there, right? If you talk about the individuals that are maybe sitting on a ton of equity and don't really know how to use it, talk to your lender.
Well, and let's even
Get
take it
into
a little bit more.
Debt consolidation. Like there's so many different options you can do. And I know we're kind of skewing towards what homeowners can do, right? Because there are homeowners like me and you, right? We have student loan debt. And I want to touch on this real quick just because I think it's important. A lot of people don't understand how to effectively use their home equity, right? A HELOC can be an extremely powerful tool for debt consolidation. And if you're one of those families that, let's say, you've got a house that you've lived in for 10 years and you're sitting on $250,000, $300,000 in equity. And you've got, both spouses maybe went to college and all of a sudden those payments are going to rear their ugly head. And now to your point earlier, you got to pick and choose, hey, what bills am I going to actually pay and what not? There's so many people that I go, well, it's, what's your house worth? Like how much equity do you have? And they look at me, they go, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Well, you can utilize that. And you can do a debt consolidation loan. You can pay off student loans, or you can take your highest credit card interest payment. Who was I just talking to? Somebody's interest payment on their credit card, now that the Fed rate hike has continued to happen, is it like a 22.5%, right? Well, if I can get a HELOC at 7%, 6%, 5%, and dump all of my debt into that, right? I think the average student loan debt interest rate is 6.5. Yep. So if I'm under that, I'm saving money. Yeah, it's granted, it's one monthly lump payment, right, which you have to adjust to, but you're saving 10, 15, 16% in interest.
Damn it.
Over the course of that, right?
I'm not finishing my basement.
But it's what I'm saying is like, and I think
HELOC.
this is why it's important that this is the whole reason we do this podcast, because when we look at that,
Creative financing.
Our job is to find solutions and give you guys information that you can utilize. If you're a homeowner, look at your home equity, talk to somebody about a HELOC in response to debt consolidation, if that's going to be something that's going to rear its ugly head in September, October. If you're not a homeowner, the reason we preach owning a home is for a very simple fact. Since the 1930s, home values have doubled every 10 years. I talked about it last week's episode, which means if we don't get blown up in a nuclear war, by 2050-ish,
Zelensky.
the average home price in America is going to be close to $1 million. So do you want to get on that train now, or do you want to not put a plan in place and figure it out with the help of a team,
and
then try and get on that train in 7-8 years?
Would you like to save $200 to $300 to touch on your point? Because if you're going to be paying $400 a month for your student loan debt, and you got a HELOC that, say you pay it all off, 80 grand, you might still be at $200 a month.
Exactly.
Yep.
Leverage
right?
your house.
Well,
and your money.
that's something that we do touch on.
You do have terms, right? It balloons at 15 years or whatever,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah,
at
just
least
depends
buys
on
you
the- yeah,
time.
depends on the HELOC.
Right.
Talk to your lenders.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Ant earlier, right? They've got a great HELOC program.
Yeah.
Most lenders will have a great. It just depends on. Most lenders, it would just depend on what the terms are, what the rates are. Shop around, talk to different people, but it's an opportunity and it's a solution. It may not be a catch-all, right? But it's something.
Yeah. It's an option.
Yep.
You have options.
Yep.
And to touch on what you were saying, who's doing the buy and the sell? Statman. We had the first month,
They're
a
coming
few
with,
back,
like,
that
costume.
more people were moving out of Colorado than moving in.
Yep.
Yeah. For the
Those
first
are the
time.
people. Those are the listings. It's not a mass exodus by any means, but I've people are not rebuying from me. They're just listing because they're leaving.
Yeah, I talked to 3 buyers last week. All of them were going to buy. They're all leaving.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to go buy in like Oklahoma.
Or Wyoming.
I'll never visit them there.
And there is knowledge behind that too, because I had an interesting conversation. I have a couple that they might be going to Mexico. They said, we're going to take our equity, buy our dream house, retire over there. I said, okay, understand that there's going to be some taxes you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
And you got to disclose that to your title company. By having that conversation, they'll come back to me and they're like, hey, they just took $40K. What's up?
Like,
Factor that in. Talk to your CPA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and here's something else
Outside
with
of the state taxes.
Here's something else with student loans that happened that not a lot of people paid attention to or didn't see the email come through. A lot when this whole payoff of the loans came through, a lot of these the companies that were holding these loans, they wanted to consolidate because, as Oscar talks about all the time, secondary market, right? They carry your loan, they sell it, they're not making money, whatever it is. So I know for me, my loan used to be through Great Lakes. I got an email, and now it's through Chiron or some other company, and it's just an email. It's literally just in your inbox. It says your loan has been transferred.
Yep.
And if you're not aware of that, if you haven't been paying attention to that, and you go in and try and log in like you did 2 years ago to pay your loan, you're going to have to take the time to re-register on that website, create a profile, look through and see if everything transferred correctly. What's your rate at? And not a lot of people have been paying attention to that.
To take that one step further, also make sure that your current address
Yes.
is current because in 2 years, a lot of people moved. And if it is a direct mail or you set it up with like I did, dude, I set mine up for my University of Colorado Go Buffs. Sucks to
House
be
divided.
CSU.
Rams in my house.
Yeah. My whole family's CSU. There's a lot of people, like I set my email address was my .edu email address from, I don't know, whenever I graduated 46 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if I'm not getting that, then they're going to send it to me via mail. And if I don't live at the same address, they're not going to hunt you down. So that September 1.
It's not their responsibility.
That September
It's yours.
1 deadline can come through. And if you're not getting that communication, and I heard this is, they're putting in place a very specific order of operations as far as contacting people, right? And the goal is, their mandate is they have to reach out between now and September 1st 6 different times.
Yep.
Most of that will be via direct mail or email, right?
Yep.
But if your information is not up to date and your address isn't correct, you can go these next 3 months, not get a single piece of mail. You forget about it. Life happens. Now, all of a sudden, you fast forward another year. That moratorium on the credit reports not getting hit with delinquencies. Now, let's say you go, hey, I do want to buy a house. I got another job, blah, blah, blah. The market calmed down, whatever. And you go, actually, you don't qualify. You're
Surprise.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're delinquent on your student loan.
Well-
So make sure you guys are verifying if you have student loans, your contact info, your login info, your servicer, and your current address.
Yeah.
And there was a while back, I don't know what the guidelines are now for deferment and student loans. They have some guidelines within the lending perimeters that there's some kind of leeway there.
As far as
like FHA, there was a little bit of a buffer if you had any medical debt or delinquencies on your
from what
student loans. So I don't know if that's going to come up again and have a little bit of forgiveness
might for that first year. Outside of that, though, as far as I know, the guidelines for FHA is they'll take a half of what your monthly payment is, and then conventional is the full monthly payment. Deferment, there is a percentage that they took if you were deferred. But
So here's something else I want to talk about.
We should have had a lender in the house with the mic.
Here's something else I wanted to talk about and bring up around student loans. I saw a video, and obviously take it with a grain of salt. But there was a video that I saw. I had backing with statistics and numbers and all that kind of stuff. But basically, what they were talking about is there is a possibility that we can see a 2008 loan situation, balloon fall through with student loans after this goes back into effect. So basically what he was talking about is what this could lead to is if enough people are defaulting on their loans after student loans start again, we can see a crash that we've never seen before because, again, student loans are purchased and backed on the secondary market.
Well, and there's two things that are happening at the same time right now. And if they both happen, it could be bad. Totally get it. Number one is, so you guys know, the reason the Fed raises rates is to cause a recession. That's what it is. It's the only way to cool an inflation. If you're inflationary, you want a deflationary stage of the economy, which would be a recession, right? Well, their plan is, and this has been the Fed playbook forever, is they raise rates till something breaks.
Yep.
And at first they were going after the housing market. That didn't happen. Now they're going after unemployment, right? And we just got the jobs report last week, which is why rates spiked a little bit. It's still going strong for a multitude of reasons that we won't get into today because that could be a whole other episode.
You don't have enough bourbon.
We don't have enough bourbon for that. We also don't have enough migrant workers, honestly. That's part of the reason. But
Thank you.
what? Sorry, did I say
said
that
that?
loud? Anyway, if we do break unemployment and it skyrockets, and then you do have student loans go back into fruition, and now you've got people that don't have jobs that also have an extra $500 a month payment, that's when it can get a little bit
It's going to be an interesting break, right?
Yeah.
Because when the housing market broke, it was an asset that could be correlated with banking and personal, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to student loans, there's no asset tied to it.
Right.
Nope.
So I'm interested
Exactly.
what kind of topsy-turvy shit we'd get into with
Yeah.
that.
Well, and honestly, this is
Again, we need more bourbon.
I just don't see the thought of, like I said earlier, people are struggling. We're going to add more struggle to the struggle.
Yeah, but the problem is, here's the deal. We're not going to solve that.
No.
Right?
No.
I get it. It is what it is. You print $2 trillion, you have to suffer the consequences.
And student loans, it's not anything new, right?
No, it's not. But I think the point is, if you are one of those individuals that does have student loans and it is coming up on that kind of event horizon, put a plan in place, whether it's we've talked about this a couple times, automate your savings accounts, right? Hell, if you have extra money, invest in CDs right now at 6%. We talked about that, I think, 3 weeks ago. Put a plan in place to put whatever that, like, let's say your repayment's going to be $347 a month. Start putting away that $347 a month now, so that when it does show up in October and that first bill's due,
Head of the game.
then you're ahead of the
You
game.
already got it. Yep. And I think that's the hardest thing for people to do is, what do you mean? I already don't feel like I can save money. So what you're telling me
You
to
can
save
save
more
money.
money?
You can save money.
There's always ways.
If
There's
we
always
were to
Avocado
ways to
toast
save
in
money.
Starbucks.
Yeah. Avocado toast, bro.
Yeah.
Avocado toast.
Yeah.
Just stop buying avocado toast.
Well, and honestly, like I'd love to be able to sit here and tell everybody,
Like the
like,
water.
it's going to get better. We see this coming. Honestly, as I said before, this is a situation that we have never seen in the United States ever.
Unprecedented.
The definition of unprecedented. And so
And it's not doom and gloom. It's
No.
educate yourself. There's
Yeah.
options.
Be prepared.
Don't just take whatever they dish out. Work away.
figure it out. There's
work
ways.
around it.
I look at like MapQuest.
MapQuest. What's that?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Go to the gas station,
was-
buy one of those maps, be like, I want to get from A to B, follow directions. You're in the passenger seat.
Are we gonna
blocking the
bring up
window, you know what I mean?
MySpace while we're at it? Just said MapQuest.
Yep.
Dang. That's awesome.
Let me
I like
print out
it.
10 pages.
Total side note.
Single lines.
I think this is like 3 years ago. I was driving to Vegas. 4 years ago, I was driving to Vegas, and I was in the middle of Utah, right? And I pull up, and I look over, and it's these two old ladies in this Toyota Camry, and no shit, one of them had a freaking printout map from the
Road
gas
atlas?
station, taking up literally 2/3 of this car, while the other one's just driving. And I'm sitting there just
2 inches away
imagining
from the steering wheel.
imagining the conversation that's happening in this car. God damn it, Edna, can you get this map out of my way? Where's the gas station? And I'm like, do you guys not have smart? No, okay.
No,
You know what?
no.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah,
keep
you know
driving.
what? When you're used to
Yeah.
something, you used to. So you give them
Keep
MapQuest, they're going to end up in freaking Kansas.
You remember
not
that though? When you
Vegas.
had to do it and then you printed
Yeah.
it out.
That's
and
what
you're
I'm
like,
saying.
all right,
Hey, you know what? When I
20
first started,
lines.
I was making that much money.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford a Garmin's GPS.
Yeah.
I was
No, man.
printing out MapQuest
Oh,
like
yeah.
a mother.
Oh, yeah.
I had
Oh,
like
I mean, I've been
10
going
pages
through-
of just directions.
I've been going through. I was going through a situation with my cell phone where it wasn't working, and I literally pulled off to the side of the road at one point. I was like, "Holy shit! I'd be completely lost without cell service." Like,
Yeah.
I know. Luckily, I know the highway, but I get off 25 and trying. Oh yeah, take this street, go down here.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
So-
nah.
So as you guys are getting prepared, pretend like we're your map quest. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
I had
we're
a
just
map
trying to give you the
book.
directions.
yeah.
It was cool because back then they'd give you coordinates so that you would just follow it. It was like this way and this way. There's the freaking house, and you'd get there. Now,
Interesting.
if my GPS isn't working, I'm like, fuck, we'll
Yeah.
go
It was
look
like
at it
Oscar
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Oscar, where you at? 3 mics out.
Yeah, seriously.
Hold on, let me.
Hey,
unfold my
sometimes
paper.
old school stuff is tried and true, man. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yep.
On a
Absolutely.
walkie-
Get a
on a
compass out, and you're
walkie-talkie.
good to go. You get lost.
I
in
got
Hi-
the bourbon.
You get lost in Highlands Ranch. Good luck. Those streets go diagonal.
Oh, dude, yeah.
on a Nextel.
Push to talk.
Whatever. I had
remember
that
some
going
of
on
those.
for opening day. You guys didn't want the walkie-talkies though.
Dude, we should. We
We
needed them.
needed them. I told you.
Oh man. Well, and that's honestly, it's these discussions are hard to have because, like we've talked about before, money is one of the most difficult conversations for anybody to have with an individual without feeling in the most vulnerable state that they could be in, especially in today's market.
Yep.
And our podcast is a little different. We're not going to give you all the stuff that feels good because the stuff that doesn't feel good needs to be addressed. And we're bringing it up not as a doom and gloom, as there is options. Find out what they are. Educate yourself. Talk to us. Talk to anybody that knows what it's about, and you'll be okay.
Professional. I just
Yes,
caveat
professional.
that. I
Don't talk to your
don't
neighbor
talk
that-
to your uncle
that just
from
wants to chew the
Wichita,
fat for an hour.
Kansas,
Uncle John.
Yeah.
that sells pipes. Like, talk to a professional.
He might know.
Someone you trust.
He's
okay?
selling pipes. He's a businessman.
Well, and it also comes down to the just the thought of like you can sit and complain,
Yep.
or you
This
can
is
do
what most
something
people
about
like to
it,
do.
right?
100%.
But that's also, and you guys have heard me say it before. We got here because for a significant amount of the last decade, there has been an entire generation of people who decided that voting is not important, and there's people that are in power now that if we had decided that voting was important and we paid attention to it, probably wouldn't be there. And it, as always, we can talk about doom and gloom. We can talk about positivity. We can talk about different programs that are being introduced. But at
Next
the end of the
podcast
day,
is going to be positivity and tickle stuff.
but at the end of the day, it comes down to you. It is your responsibility to look up the information to a point where you at least feel educated or comfortable with what's going on. Because at the end of the day, we can sit here and complain. We can comment on TikTok. We can, riot in the streets if we want. But at the end
Get
of
out
the
of the
day,
house.
it's not. You're not controlling things the way that it's set up to be controlled.
So,
But he said a key word
also, I'm very
or
impressed right
phrase, huh?
now. I'm very impressed.
Oh,
right
every
now.
episode. Did you not realize
Yeah.
that? He does it every
Oh.
episode.
He's
He's
got
got the
mad
perfect
bouncy
knee bone.
skills. No, you said there a generation that doesn't want to vote,
Mm-hmm.
and how many of the people that are in power banked on that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not, and then I'm not like, let's take the power back, but no, let's take a little bit of the power back.
Yeah.
Understand what you're going through, and it's because your lack of voting put those people into place that are making these decisions for you.
I would love to see
Get informed.
like a Mr. Beast, like somebody who has a large social media following. Just do like a mock vote. Just like, hey, if you're engaged on social media, have him put a poll up.
Do you know how many millions of people?
That's what I mean. But because
Did you
people
know?
are willing,
I think it was him. Just really quick,
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt. He blocked off that bridge over in
Chris
here in
Valley?
Cas- yeah, and made a slip and slide on it.
Yep.
No.
I wish I was here.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that guy has a tie to Castle Rock. I don't know.
Yep.
You've been here longer. than
I don't know what his tie to cast, right? He had the battle bus too, and all
Yeah,
the
he
kids
had the
went
battle
and played.
bus, and
Oh,
he
wow.
has a Mr. Beast burger.
And he's got a
here.
Mr. Beast burger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
but see,
sorry.
but that's my whole
Squirrel.
point is I would love to see, like, if you can get on social media, and we've all seen it, and complain and comment, what the hell are you doing? Get up, go vote.
Yeah,
It's like,
and again,
come
this
on.
is not a political
Yeah, don't yell at
podcast.
me, user 21568423736.
Keep ragging on him. I want to see it. No, but this isn't a political podcast. But
We can turn it into one,
TikTok,
but it's gonna be real.
and
Real,
again,
real.
we're not for or with, and we'll stay neutral. But TikTok, they screwed up one of Trump's rallies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're
16-year-olds.
Yes, a bunch of 16-year-olds. Why can't you just go out and there and vote? That's the power you have.
Exactly.
Whatever
Yes.
side you're on.
Well, and here's the other thing, right? So we could do a whole podcast on my 90-10 rule.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Or the 1.57585 that keeps talking shit to your TikTok.
With my 90-10 rule. And maybe we should do that one day. I don't know, it'd be fun.
It's a little tidbit.
Yeah, especially now that I got, scholastic backing. But anyway.
Dang. Walking thesaurus over here, he says scholastic.
When we talk about doing research and due diligence and so on and so forth, what you guys have to understand is it's important the content you consume. And there's a book I was reading. It's an author. It's The Art of Impossible. If you guys, I'll link it here actually because I love the book. I think everybody should read it. But he basically goes and says you can consume a bunch of different content, right? You can consume videos, YouTube channel, podcasts, magazine articles, books, right? And the consuming that information has the greatest return on investment because if you think about it, right? So let's say you read the National Geographic and you read a 3-page article about, I don't know, climate change, something, whatever it is. And it's written by a journalist, scientist with, sources, so on and so forth. It may take you, I don't know, 3 pages, 5 minutes, right? If you're a slow reader, 2, 3 if you're a fast reader, to consume that information. But the information you're consuming was a month of research and fact checking and validation, et cetera, right? So now you expand it and say, okay, well, how about if I listen to an hour-long podcast with a certain expert on it that is academically backed, so on and so forth. Okay, so it takes you an hour to listen to the podcast, and you consume that information. The information you're consuming took maybe 2 to 3 months of interviews and validation and fact checking and so on and so forth.
Well, what
right?
you're talking about is
but then if you read a book, and I'm a book reader.
No,
this is the only reason I'm gonna say this shit.
I'm digging what he's
Okay?
saying.
No,
But if you read a book, right, it may take you, I don't know, 5 days, 6 days to read a 300-page book. The amount of research, education, interviews, et cetera, that went into the book could be 2 to 3 years, 5 years, 10 years of knowledge packed into the 3 to 5 days. So what I'm saying is to piggyback off of making you guys understand the importance of being educated and I don't know, up to date on what the fuck is happening. It only takes you an investment of a week to gain 15 years of knowledge.
Dude,
But
that's deep. I got to cheers you to that.
You know what I'm saying?
That is dead on. Yes.
Well, here, and that's what I was going to add to that and
that
say
is dead on. Yes.
one of my top 3
I like that a lot,
one of my
actually.
top 3 quotes. We stand on the backs of the giants that came before us.
Exactly.
What Jameson just described is that exact quote personified.
Yep.
Is the same reason why libraries are one of the most protected places in cities around the world. It's because libraries house years, centuries of knowledge.
Real life example.
Yeah.
We talked about the S.A.V.E. program, right? Saving for Valuable Education. Guarantee, if I go out into the streets of Castle Rock, Colorado, and I say, did you go to college? Yes. Do you have a student loan? Yes. Do you know the repayment plans that are available to you now that SCOTUS has undermined or gotten blocked the reimbursement program or the student debt forgiveness program? 2 things are going to happen. 1, I didn't know there was a student debt forgiveness program happening.
Yep.
I just thought I wasn't paying. 2, no, I don't know what my programs are. So now if you listen to us, we've done the research. It's taken you maybe, I don't know, I could clip this into a 1.5-minute thing with a link, and you get to benefit from the research that we did for free so that you guys can educate yourself. And that opportunity is out there everywhere. It's just a personal choice on whether or not you guys want to actually pursue it.
If anything, we kicked the door open so you could go do the research.
Exactly.
Yep.
So-
All right. It sounds like it's about time for us to move into our Run Rock takeaway.
Or been an hour?
Let's
Jesus.
do it.
Yeah. All right. Who
Man, that
wants
went quick.
it
too
did.
fast.
Who wants to take it first?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say the subliminal message that your shirt is giving me.
Savannah
as
bananas?
The banana. I got some banana flavor out of this. It's
Oh,
weird.
Wait. One Rock
Oh.
takeaway.
Oscar's,
hold on,
Oscar's
hold
been
on.
away for a couple days.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah,
episodes.
no, I wanted to say it between all this deep conversation we had. I was like, it's hard, right? Because at the end of the day, the podcast is about education, but it's the information that's out there. You got to seek it. It's kind of like success, right? You can't wait for success to come to you. You gotta go knock on that door, kick it down, and go get it.
Yep.
Same with knowledge.
Yep.
You need to go out there, figure it out. Don't just take what they're dishing out. That's it.
Yep.
Don't just take what they're giving you. Ask questions. Find out if there's options.
I like
That's
it.
my one rock takeaway.
I like it. You want me to go? Or you want
You
to
can go.
All right. If you've watched the podcast, if you know me in person, if you have seen my TikTok and or Instagram, you've heard me say this before, but I believe that this is one of the most beautiful things about our human experience, and it's the fact that everybody has lived life a different way. Therefore, you can learn something from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that ties perfectly into what Jameson was talking about with the books. There's specialists out there. There's people who have dedicated their lives to learning and being the professionals to come to about these topics. Take it upon yourself to reach out and talk to them, because I guarantee you somebody who's spent a lot of time on something loves to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who comes to them with open arms looking to learn and truly talk to them about it, you will get the best information and probably better information than you would from 5 hours on a book. Sit down, target somebody who you trust, who you know has the information, go in with a plan, ask the right questions, and you'll learn more than anything.
Because more than likely, they've read that book.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And they
So
condense it for you.
the book I was talking about, Art of Impossible, he was a journalist for the New York Times, and he was an investigative reporter. And they had this is not my one rock takeaway. I'm just giving you some credence too.
No, thank you.
Per Charlie's point, their goal was to, if you have a topic and you hear it from one professional, ask at least 3 others.
Mm-hmm.
And if all 4 can corroborate, then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
This dude made a mistake, and the information that got printed ended up being incorrect. So he changed it to, I'm going to go ask 5 people, right? Well, what he found was, 1 through 4 usually will be similar because a lot of them run in the same circles, and they have the same research, and they have the same biases, and so on and so forth. But if you get that 5th person, then all of a sudden it turns into, okay, this is different. And you can start to really discern what is valid and what's not, and make a decision. So when Charlie says, if you sit down and talk to people, absolutely 100%, always as much as you possibly can, but talk to different people with different backgrounds and different specialties, and begin to kind of build that skill of synthesizing that information so you can make really good decisions.
Get in the habit of researching.
Right? So that leads into my one rock takeaway, and I just have 2 things for you guys today. Number 1 is be curious. Always, always, always be curious. And number 2 is be prepared. And I think they play off of each other, because in order to be prepared, you have to know what to be prepared for. In order to know that, you have to be curious about what's coming next. And if you guys can get that down, I think personally, just looking at the financial markets, looking at our economy, looking at the housing market specifically, because obviously we're realtors, this next 12 months is going to be a fucking doozy.
Yep.
And I don't think that if you talk to 7 different people, all 7 people are going to give you the same prediction as far as what's going to happen. So the only way to make sure that you guys are in a position to succeed or to not fail, whatever your goal is, right?
No, succeed. We don't play to not fail.
I'm just saying, some people play not to lose versus play to win. 90-10 rule. We'll have a whole podcast.
Okay.
Anyway, the only way to put yourself in that position is to be curious and seek out knowledge and education so that you can then prepare yourself for any eventuality that might happen.
Never stop being a student.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're the wrong
Maybe
room.
that's 2 rocks,
Exactly.
but it is what it is.
I like it.
It's important.
Yeah, I'll take
like it.
I'll take it.
I like it.
I'll take it. And before we head off, it's funny because we
We
talked
ain't
about...
heading off. We still got to rate this whiskey.
Well,
boy.
no, I'm saying before we
I still got to drink
go
the rest of
into
this whiskey.
Before we go into the bourbon review, one thing that on that note of information and stuff like that, obviously, and have to give this disclaimer, the fact that you watch a single TikTok, reel, or video on social media does not mean you have the most accurate information.
Oh.
Unless they're ours, we're fantastic. So I'm just saying.
But no, check us.
Yeah,
check us too.
absolutely.
If I say something, please call me out. Go check. Reference it though. Let me know where you got the information from that you checked me on. But the reason I bring it up is because
Wikipedia count.
well, I don't know. It didn't when I was in school. But the reason I bring it up is because one thing that Alicia does, my girlfriend, and I've never really seen somebody do it, but I love her for it, is she'll watch a TikTok. And within the first 5 seconds, if it's presenting information, she pauses it, goes directly to the comments. Why is that? Because people will call out other people on their bullshit. And so that I just wanted to bring it up because we live in a world of so much saturation of information. Just because you watch one thing does not mean you're an expert on it, does not mean you know enough about it to talk about it. If it interests you enough to the point where you want to talk about it, do the research.
Also understand
Soapbox.
algorithms work. So what you're seeing is like your own bias. So just be careful.
Exactly. Soapbox. Sorry.
Yeah, just
Anyway,
be careful.
so I think it's time to move into the bourbon review.
How's that for a transition, boys and girls? You like that one? That was good, right?
Let's talk about
heavy,
the
heavy,
booze.
heavy. And how is this bourbon tasting?
Yep.
Better than it did an hour ago.
I can't even taste it anymore.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, the burn didn't subside.
I
No.
love the water in it. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm
Yeah.
not. I do
Yeah.
not put rocks in my stuff. This actually it worked.
Yeah,
I think
cut
it's
it.
that higher proof. Like
it's
I didn't know it was
it
that high
unlocks it a little bit.
well, and coming from a position of, we always talk about how many bourbons we've tried, and I've talked in the past about how my palate has become more defined based on the bourbons that we've tried. This was still a shock to me.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
definitely still, the burn. For anybody who watches us, or for anybody that wants to get into bourbon, just know that the burn will always be there.
I feel like Knob Creek could be an eloquent bourbon.
Yes.
But it's still, I'm gonna punch you in the
Knob.
face.
It's
I'm
Knob
still Knob
Creek.
Creek,
Yeah,
bitch. I'm
yeah.
here. That's kind of how I see this.
Yeah.
It's Knob Creek. I know I'm gonna like it, but then it reminded me, yeah, I'm still 100 something proof.
Yeah, I'm still
Don't
a bourbon.
forget that.
Exactly.
I like it though.
Yeah, it hasn't. I don't want the heat to play into my rock rating.
Oh, I'm
Too much.
Fuck the heat. I still got heartburn.
Right. Right. But
But it's good.
yeah. I mean
The taste and flavor profiles out. It was more pros to it than cons.
yes.
It overpowers. It is burning.
I
It
do
really
think
is.
though, like I said, when I added the drops of water, I believe that the flavor profile of the spice
elevated.
added to the burn, and my brain was going, "Oh, this is hot," and then the spice came and it's like, "Yeah, it's really hot," and I think that's what you feel at the back of your throat. It's not the heat of the bourbon; it's the spices in the bourbon.
Sorry, I was doing some research, but yeah.
And what now?
Yeah,
We're done.
looking up.
Well, no. Bourbon
Fuck it.
research.
It's gonna be a 2-hour
research.
podcast.
Yeah, bourbon research. No. Bourbon research because we went on a small batch run, and I was looking to see if we had a small batch that was 120 proof. We have not.
Really?
Nope.
Everything's been 100.
What did we have that was high and proof?
Uncut, unfiltered smoke wagon was 118.
Really?
Yes.
What was the Elijah Craig?
118.
Oh,
So I'm just seeing if this is the highest proof bourbon we've had.
Yeah.
Because it kind of affects how I'm comparing it to the other
Yeah.
ones. Because my first thought, anytime small batch, any bourbon, I just now compare to smoke wagon.
Yeah.
Because again,
It's just
you
a
guys
good
are doing
bourbon.
You're
great
doing a good job, guys.
great fans.
But-
Great fans. If you're listening, Smoke Wagon, I'd like to go to Vegas.
But and I guess I could have looked at the bottle that we have right behind me. Now that I think about it, versus doing this, whatever.
Research.
It's fine. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
I'm-
a good interesting though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
I feel like we almost have to have a separate category for high proof
High
bourbons.
proofs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's hard to rate it against something that's not 120.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because the whole point of 120 is
Or
Right,
something as
exactly.
mellow as a larceny.
yeah.
High weeded.
Right. Exactly.
I'll go ahead and start it off. If I'm gonna rate it on the water drop, not on the
Straight up.
not on the straight up, only because I feel like the water drop is a more fair comparison to
I
the
agree with
100
that.
proofs. If I'm doing that, I'm sitting right at about a 4
Okay.
on this one, only because I don't feel like the flavor rolls through the profile as much as some of the other bourbons that we've had, where you get the heat up front, then you get the sweetness,
Sure.
then you get it's very much burn. Let me wait a little bit. The burn's there. Vanilla, spice, cardamom. It's like, and then
Okay.
it sits on the back
Yeah.
of your tongue. So it's less. God, I sound pretentious. It's less of a journey of flavor than it is a here's the flavor. Like
Right.
a
So you
punch
don't,
of
you don't
flavor.
need a map quest to go from start to finish.
Yep.
On
Exactly.
a neat pour
Yes.
of Knob Creek single barrel small. That makes sense. I get it.
Yep.
Those old ladies would be pissed that I saw driving to Vegas. But it is
So
what it
yeah, I'm gonna go with a 4.
is. Okay. You want to go?
Sure. I'm gonna go with a 3 because I appreciate the quickness of I am what I am. Here's this. We're there.
I am unapologetic.
I am all apologetic. I'm gonna kick your teeth in, and it's good. Just take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's good. It's not like it burns. It sucks. It's the brown bagger. It hurts so good.
I think for me it's definitely I like that you give it a 3. I think that earthy punch is just too heavy for me.
I just get everything all at once, and I can appreciate it for what it is.
But again, don't forget,
except for the
I
heartburn.
have a very sweet palate. Like I do not.
Oh yeah,
Alicia,
he eats Reese's Pieces every day.
Alicia drinks like kombucha, and I can't do it
Oh,
because
no, I would toss that shit out the window.
To her, I'm sorry, babe. It tastes like dirt. I can't.
Yeah.
Kombucha's hard. It tastes like vinegar.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I like
But-
it,
Dude,
but
I
it's-
get unsweetened iced tea.
Yeah.
And then I pour a shit ton of Splenda in it because it's 0 calories. So
Yeah, but I think that's where my 4 comes from. Is it's just
Yeah.
too dirty, too earthy for
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
All at once.
I really like bitter.
so Charlie hates the planet.
I love this planet. Don't you dare.
He
start
hates
with
Earth.
He hates the earth. That's what he just said.
No.
No,
He was
no.
a hippie guy.
I
You
am
said you were a
literally
hippie guy,
tree
right?
hugger.
Yes.
He was a tree hugger
legitimately
hippie.
Hug trees.
Look how handsome he looks now, though. He's
Hey,
good. He cut his
you know,
hair.
yeah,
You know,
I was
he's a
telling
handsome
Oscar
dude.
before is the imposter syndrome gets real when I cut my hair.
Yeah.
Just because when I look at myself in the mirror now, I go, that's the douchebag I used to hate.
Yeah.
But hey, I look good.
Welcome to the party, baby.
Yeah,
Hey,
he's
hey,
a
thanks, babe.
handsome guy. I mean, tell him he's a handsome guy. It's good. It's okay
He's
to be handsome.
guy. He's a handsome guy.
Own it.
Thank you. J-Mo.
All right.
What do you got?
I'm going to go in between you guys because I agree with you rating it on the water. But I agree with Oscar that, yeah, it's a punch in the face. But it's at 120 proof, I would expect it to be a punch in the face. Now, this is why I think we have to have a separate category because this is the 120, Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered 118. Nothing beats that for me so far. I don't know if this comes close.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know you've
Yeah.
had it.
What?
Would you compare this to a Booker's? Booker's 127. We have to have it on the podcast.
Yeah,
I will.
I need to taste it again.
In that comparison, though, I'm sitting solid on that 4 when you bring up that it's
yeah,
it's
so that's what I'm
118
saying.
for the
Like I
Smoke
think
Wagon.
3.5.
Yeah.
Because I look
enough.
at it and I say, so this to me is more palatable when I have 3 drops of water. Okay. If I pour Smoke Wagon Uncut Unfiltered neat, I don't need shit.
No.
Like at all. And it doesn't taste 118.
We are
See what
not
I'm saying?
sponsored yet.
Right?
By Smoke Wagon.
At this
We're gonna
point,
reach
Smoke
out.
Wagon, like, come on, bro.
Come on, seriously.
Smoke Wagon,
I drink it
Rockstar,
more
and
than
Bang.
Bang.
Like,
I
come
mean,
on,
I'm still waiting for Bang to
I just need
sponsor me.
something. But no, I think a 3.5. If I split the difference, I'm happy with that. I think this is a very good 120.
Yes.
And I think it's a very good small batch. I don't think it's as good as the other small batches we had, other than Long Branch.
Can we talk about price?
$56. Not
Yeah,
bad.
It's not bad.
No.
For a
For a
store
small-
select too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
store
So
select,
it's
small
different.
batch,
Yeah.
100.
I think
something
small
proof.
batch by itself is 49. Now that it's because it's a store pick, it's 56.
And when we say store pick, it is worth it.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because you got people that are
They pick it.
tasting these
Wow.
barrels and they
know what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. So I think 3.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, guys, hell of an episode. Come back to. We took a break last week for the holiday, but
I took a 3-week break.
no, it was good. It was good. I think it needed
Good
to happen,
refresher.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. It was nice to come back and have an audience member today. So thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us.
Insert applause here.
Yep, we'll throw the laugh track in. But guys, don't forget, we are the Mile High Perspective. YouTube channel is Living in Colorado at the Mile High Perspective. You can catch us every week, Monday to Wednesday. Friday is our audio on iTunes and Spotify. And send us an email at resotr@themilehighperspective.com or give us a phone call at
303-578-0263. Rings all 3 of us, guys. We also have our contact information on the YouTube channel. And if you guys are listening to this audio, I would just tell you, give us a rating, right? If you like what you hear, you think it's valuable, give us a positive rating. We'd love to see it. And let us know what topics. We'd like to stay as topical as possible. And there's just so much news coming out right now. It's hard to pick. And then obviously social media, that's the fun side. Oscar, where can they find you and your cool mug?
Oscar at oscartherealtor.com. Well, that's email, but
Yeah,
across the
either
board,
one.
Oscar
Whatever.
the Realtor.
Oscar the Realtor. TikTok, Instagram,
All
and
of
then Oscar Bar on Facebook, right?
Linktree is CO.
Yep.
nice that lifting agent on Instagram and TikTok.
For Charlie. And then for me, the Colorado real estate guy Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's Jameson Amaros with Fathom Realty, and let us know what you guys think, man. This is a heavy topic, but
Yep. And if you guys haven't taken a look at the channel yet, please check it out. Community spotlights have started flowing. We're doing new build community spotlights as well. So check it out. Let us know where you want us to go.
Pro tip, real quick, and I know this is going to piss. If we had lenders in the room, it'd probably make them mad. New builds, though, right now, if you're looking at interest rates, some of the best deals in the market.
4.5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode. Really happy to have you. And again, we love doing this for you guys. So thank you for participating with us, liking, commenting, and sharing. We'll catch you guys later.
All right. See you.
Later, guys.